Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me.
In today's video, we've got to break down some interesting drama surrounding Shedeur Sanders. It seems like he may have had to step in and call out a teammate. Now, if you're not caught up on what's going on, here's the backstory. One of his fellow quarterbacks made some comments that raised a few eyebrows. A lot of fans believe Dillon Gabriel was throwing a little shade at Sanders, someone he's directly competing with for that starting quarterback spot. Let's take a closer look at the clip so you can see what people are talking about.
There's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that, and my job is to compete.
So those were Dillon Gabriel's comments. And let's be real, everyone could see who he was aiming at. It's not like there was much mystery. Why else would you drop comments like that before the season even kicks off? The timing alone raises questions. Naturally, Shedeur Sanders was asked about it, and he admitted that he had to pull his teammate aside and check him. I'll get into that clip in just a moment. But before we dive there, something else caught my attention. A breaking report that could be massive if it's true. According to Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson, the NFL allegedly warned teams not to draft Shedeur Sanders. The claim? The league wanted to make an example out of him. If that's accurate, we're talking about one of the biggest potential scandals in football history. And the tension doesn't stop there. Even local reporters, people who are supposed to cover him fairly, have taken repeated shots at Sanders. At one point, he had to call out a hometown journalist directly, questioning why someone from his own backyard was constantly tearing him down on air.
What do you say when you hear that narrative that the Browns are
mistreating him?
Yes.
I shake my head. I don't understand it at all. They complicated their own situation by drafting him when they did. He's got the fewest reps in camp and he's got a sore arm. Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice and after practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
What is it?
He's trying to get his arm right, Tone. I'm sure he's probably practiced more now than he has at any point in his collegiate
it obviously
career.
was counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus God, would you give him a chance?
That's just a glimpse of what's been said about Shedeur Sanders. And keep in mind, this wasn't some random critic. This came from a hometown reporter, someone who should be highlighting the talent right in front of them. Because let's be honest, the city has something special with Sanders, and that's momentum you can build on. Look back at that preseason game. That was pure energy, almost like a statement. We've arrived. We've got Shedeur Sanders. We've got Coach Prime's son. Now let's put on a show. And when he faced the Panthers, he did exactly that. The performance spoke for itself. And keep in mind, he wasn't even playing alongside the starters. So just imagine the level Sanders could reach if he were put in a stronger position than what the Browns have given him so far. That's why it stings even more when local reporters keep taking shots at him. Shots that forced him to step in and check one of them directly.
I be hoping you hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you.
No, don't think that.
I ain't see nothing positive that you ever say. I think I'm positive everything. Come on, Tony. What I do to you, Tony?
Like I've been saying, it feels like the Cleveland Browns are caught up in one big cycle of drama. No matter what's going on, something always seems to stir up. To his credit, though, Shedeur Sanders has done a great job blocking out the noise, sidestepping the media's tactics, and not letting their attempts at creating conflict divide the locker room. And remember, this isn't just outside chatter. These are hometown reporters stirring the pot. You'd expect them to cover the game fairly, maybe even highlight the talent they've got in Sanders. Instead, it reached a point where Shedeur had to step in and check a teammate over comments he made. That shouldn't even be on him. That's literally what journalists and columnists are supposed to handle. Their job is to ask tough questions and get clarity, not wait for the perfect moment to shove a mic in someone's face and manufacture controversy. Which brings us back to Dillon Gabriel's remarks, the whole competitor versus entertainer angle. Sanders was asked about that, and his response was telling. So let's roll the clip and hear what he had to say. And hey, before we get into it, if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel grow, and I truly appreciate the support.
After that, in that preseason game last week, Dillon was interviewed, and he talked about the difference between entertainers and competitors. He called himself a competitor. Some people have construed that as a shot at you. How did you?
Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, you know, at this point, it can't do anything to me. You know, I know, you know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said, that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up and he was like, nah, bro, that wasn't that true. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping, regardless of whatever it was. Nobody's words or anything affects me, you know? So, yeah.
Did you believe him when he told you it wasn't on you?
Did I believe him? I mean, I feel like you're trying to start stuff now. I feel like you're trying to start stuff. I mean, he's doing his job. He's supposed to. Do I feel like he did? I don't know. And that's not on me to sit here and be like, oh, he did it. That's not going to change my life in any way.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that, but he doesn't, and then all of a sudden he's starting tomorrow night. It's like you want him to fail. I'm not accusing the coaches of doing this. I'm not accusing the GM of doing this, but that owner, Mr. Haslam, that's a different animal right there. It's a $230 million guaranteed deal to Deshaun Watson. And then he gonna come out this time around. I had nothing to do with this pick. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, that wasn't me. That was GM Barry right there. That wasn't me. The owner sitting up there. It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Yo, wasn't me. That's what he was saying. And I'm saying, really? That's what we doing now?
Tonight, Shedeur Sanders made the entire National Football League look like a whole bunch of petty fools. In some cases, racist fools. In many cases, Deion despising fools. Tonight at Carolina, Shedeur Sanders made all those teams that had 143 chances to draft him before he went 144th. He shamed all of them, including the Cleveland Browns, who finally took him in the 5th round. I'm convinced only because the owner, the publicity-starved owner, just wanted some more shock value publicity. Oh, we took him because he knew what would happen, that the national media would descend on Browns camp, make it a story that might distract the rest of the world from the mess that Jimmy Haslam has made of the Cleveland Browns, especially after he gave $230 million to Deshaun Watson. Good Lord, have mercy. I said before last college season started that Shedeur Sanders should go #1 overall. It was either he or Travis, 1-2, 2-1, and I would go every time with the quarterback because he is the quarterback. He is him. He is the son of the greatest cornerback and, to me, the greatest athlete ever. Greatness flows through his veins, and I said it all year long. He should go 1 in the draft, ahead of Cam Ward.
Shedeur Sanders kept his response short and straight to the point. And that's exactly why I wanted to lay out everything else happening around him. Because when you look at the bigger picture, you can see just how messy things have gotten with the Browns and the local media. From day one, it feels like certain reporters have gone out of their way to stir up negativity, asking questions that don't build insight, but instead create division in the locker room. If you've watched some of Shedeur's media sessions, you can sense it. The questions aren't curious, they're calculated. They sound more like attempts to trip him up than to actually understand his journey. And honestly, some of these hometown reporters have exposed themselves. If you really don't like the eye, kid, just say that. Don't go on air every chance you get throwing shade until even other radio hosts have to check you. Like, really? You don't have a single good word to say about this guy? Now here's where it gets deeper. I believe Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail. And I don't say that lightly. Think about it. Through 11 practices, he's been running with the 3rd string, On the depth chart, he's buried at 4th. He hasn't had consistent reps with the starters at all. And then suddenly, boom, you throw him into a starting lineup on national television with 0 first-team chemistry. That's not preparation. That's sabotage. I'm not pointing fingers at the coaches or the GM. But when it comes to ownership, that's a whole different story. Jimmy Haslam, the same owner who handed Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed, now claims he had nothing to do with this pick, sitting up there saying, "That wasn't me, that was the GM." Like, come on. You can't distance yourself when it's convenient. And yet, in spite of all that, what did Shedeur Sanders do tonight in Carolina? He flipped the entire NFL on its head. He made every single team that passed on him 143 times before the Browns finally grabbed him at 144 look foolish. Some of those front offices look petty, some look biased, and plenty just look flat out disrespectful toward Deion Sanders and everything his son represents. The irony? I'm convinced the Browns only drafted him in the 5th round because the owner wanted the attention. He knew the cameras would flood in. He knew Shedeur would become a media spectacle, a distraction maybe. But what he didn't account for is Shedeur's game doing the talking. And this is what I've been saying since before last season. Shedeur Sanders should have been talked about as the number 1 overall pick. To me, it was always between him and Travis Hunter. But at the end of the day, you take the quarterback. You take the guy who commands the huddle, who has greatness in his DNA. Shedeur isn't just Deion Sanders' son. He's him. Greatness runs through his veins. And tonight, he reminded the entire NFL of that.